She's a doctor.
Hi, I'm Dr. Dovec, and she's a dietitian.
Hey, I'm Hannah Schuyler, and together we are
the Doctor Dietitian Collab.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Dr. X Dietitian podcast. As always, I am joined by my fearless partner in crime, Hannah Schuyler, and today we are so excited to bring on our special guest, our new physician assistant with BodyByBariatrics, Amber Sena-Diaz, to our podcast. So welcome.
Hello, thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh my gosh, we've been so excited for God in the last
I've been talking about
months.
this for a long time. Like when Amber starts and when Amber starts and when.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's like we have been ready, and boy, you are off to a running start. You've been here now for 1 week at the time that we're recording this. So how was your first week with old Body by Bariatrics?
Well, I love it. I think there's nothing like Body by Bariatrics, and I mean that. Like, it's such an honor to be here. And it sounds kind of crazy, but I feel like I was made to be a Body by Bariatrics PA.
I do too. I mean, you absolutely are perfect. When people see your Instagram and your face and your vibe and your energy and just all of it, they're like, "Oh, she's perfect." I'm like, "I know she is." She's so
I'm so grateful.
Well, let's get to know you a little bit better. And you know, I'm not going to start with the generic, tell me all about yourself, like I start every patient consult, which is like, I don't know where to begin. But tell us a little bit about, let's start in your childhood. Tell us about where you grew up and what your childhood was like, and then like just keep expanding to how you got to this position today.
Thank you so much for that question. I was born in Miami, Florida, to an immigrant from the Dominican Republic. My mom, she's amazing. She had me at 21, very young, and she was just working multiple jobs, trying to make ends meet, but always taught me that, you work hard and you play hard. So she still like celebrated life. We had family and friends around, which is such a just central component of my culture, is working hard and still enjoying life. She tried to do college while she had me. And then I think it was when I was a baby that she was working, trying to do college, trying to raise me. And she just realized one day that like she could not do that, especially since she just lacked the knowledge of how the system even worked. And so she dropped out of college. And that same day, she opened up my college account and she said, if I can't, Amber will.
Wow.
And so she just always raised me with the knowledge that like I was going to go to school, and I was going to learn the system and I was going to figure it out and get my education in, and that I would be capable in whatever I did. And she just always really supported me. I didn't even know that story about her until I graduated PA school already. Then we moved to Central Florida. I was raised in Kissimmee, which is right outside of Orlando. And I grew up in a mostly minority culture. My high school, I think at the time, was 97% minority.
Wow.
Most of that was Latino. And I had no framework of the world outside of that. Like I would hear on television the word minority, and it made no sense to me. It was like, everybody is Dominican and Puerto Rican. What are they talking about? Until I got to college. And then I looked around and I was shocked. I had never seen so many just American people in my life. And that was kind of some of the upbringing there. Some other key components of my upbringing were just like in middle school, I just fell in love with nutrition and fitness. Like my parents would be asked a million times a day, is this healthy? What does this do for me? I'm going to go do this workout. I just got really obsessed with nutrition and fitness. And to this day, I still really am. So once I tied that with my love of science, I was able to find the PA route and become a PA.
Oh, wow. I mean, so it's interesting. I grew up in West Virginia, and I was the exact inverse ratio of how you grew up. We had, I'm going to say 99% Caucasian white people. There were a few African Americans, Black people at our school. No other minority at all. I never knew a soul that spoke Spanish at all until I went into to college at Penn State. I remember there was somebody that lived nearby me that was actually born and raised in Puerto Rico. And I was like, wow, so you speak 2 languages? Like, I just remember it being like, and I still to this day, I mean, 25 years after that experience, and now I'm in Central Florida where there's a big Hispanic community, I am still very, just so in awe and like impressed by anyone that can keep 2 languages in their mind situated. Like I wish I had that, like so much. I envy you for having that upbringing in that just culturally diverse way from what kind of my boring upbringing in West Virginia. It's like so different.
You are so amazing. I'm excited that now we can just team and have both things.
But the exact opposite. And then Hannah, where was yours? Somewhere in the middle, or were you also
somewhere in the middle? Sorry, Elena's giving her voice. She said, I'm growing up to be bilingual. Because my husband is also Dominican, and so he's first language is Spanish. So we're raising this little one to be bilingual. But yeah, mine was somewhere in the middle. So I'm from St. Augustine, Florida, originally. It's where I grew up. And which is, if you don't know, it's on the Northeast coast, just south of Jacksonville. And it is a very historically very segregated city. So, I mean, there were sit-ins, there were protests. There's a lot of history in St. Augustine. Martin Luther King did a sit-in there. Lots of stuff happened in St. Augustine that was not great. And of course, that trickles down in the, 50, 70 years since. So, but my high school was the local high school, St. Augustine High. And it had more, I would say, more diversity than you, Betsy, but probably about 60-40, maybe 70-30 white people to non-white. And mostly that was Black. Not a lot of like Hispanic. We had not many like Asian people in St. Augustine. So, definitely not kind of yours is almost like not diverse either, Amber, in a different way.
It's not.
Absolutely.
Very, like thinking about what does diversity mean? Like it's a blend of different people, and yours was like not the traditional like white American, but so it's kind of funny. Yeah, mine was somewhere in the middle for sure.
Wow.
Mine was extreme. For reference, one of my best friends was like the white girl, and her nickname was White Girl by most of the school.
Yeah.
Wow. It's shocking, but I do think that the 3 of us and our rest of our team, Dr. Lane and our others, like we do make a really great kind of like melting pot of women, and and then our approach to like how we talk to people and how we interact, and of course how we care for them and all of that stuff. I do think that we play off each other's strengths so well with all of that. So boy, you just told like a really beautiful story, and I want to like also pause and acknowledge what you just said about, and I could see that you got a little bit emotional just thinking about like, man, like my mom was young and the sacrifices that she made when she came to the United States, and she wanted this for herself, but she realized that, you know what, I'm just going to invest everything I have in Amber. And the fact that not only did you take that investment, and you've always been so appreciative of it and so vocal about that, but then you turn it into, not only did you go to college, but you did additional training. Like, tell us how you decided you wanted to be a PA. What is a PA? And just like how you incorporate that into your career with that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, my mom's amazing. And honestly, being a child of immigrants, like I didn't grow up knowing what a PA was. That there's a doctor, a lawyer, and an engineer, then other. Like most careers, I have no idea. And nobody before me ever did them. So I just knew that I loved science. Like in high school, I just knew I was going to go to college. I needed to pick my favorite thing. And the only subject I really loved was science. I was just fascinated by the way the body worked, to the point that I would say I studied science in PA school almost more to learn about me and us, and like at the molecular level to understand us. And so then I just went to college. I was in the pre-med track, and I was asking around, as everyone does, like, oh, what are you studying to become? And so someone mentioned to me that they were studying to become a PA. And I was like, what is that? When they explained it to me and I searched it more, I was like, this is perfect, because I really care about doing what I'm passionate about. There's no amount that you could pay me to feel like I'm stuck. I want to give my best. And I know that work some days inevitably will be work, for the most part, I wanted to be passionate about what I was doing. And I didn't really have an interest in like being the final say, in being the surgeon. I really wanted to work in a collaborative team where I can kind of, I'm certified to do quite a bit, but to take more of the mundane things and then being able to bring the more complex cases to my attendings and discuss those together. So once I found that role, I was like, this is perfect for me. And so I went for that.
Wow. I mean, it's a lot. And I'm always fascinated in asking Hannah on a lot of our podcasts, like, how did you decide to be a registered dietitian? Like, how do we end up at like a bariatric surgeon? Like these very specific things, like, and it's so interesting how certain sound bites or certain interactions, like in your life, like meeting this friend who did this, and then you learn more about it, and then you did the rotations, and then you're in there and you're like, yeah, this is for me. And like, and here you are, and you went for it. So you go to PA school, and tell me more about like that experience. Were you like, yeah, this is still it? Or did you ever have doubts that like, oh, I chose wrong?
I was like, I was equipped for this, but I was definitely just felt like God made me to be a PA. I was like, I am going to give my all to this. It's amazing. I love what I'm learning. I really enjoyed PA school. Like I had a very strict routine with myself where I was studying and I liked it. And then as far as rotations go, and like you said, we're in such niche fields as far as bariatrics goes. I think that we meet every person for such a reason, and that's how we end up in these places.
Oh my gosh. No, I agree. That's so true. And then just like, it's just like wild, like the journey of life. And well, back to how I met you in our first interview. Do you remember the first time you met Amber, Hannah?
I'll be honest, I don't remember like actually meeting you, because I feel like there was like a bunch of people all at once, and we were in that like virtual world. So I feel like it was,
yes.
I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't remember the exact moment, but I remember working with her and like being like, oh my God, this person's awesome, once I knew you.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, I had the opportunity. So in our previous employer, we were interviewing, we wanted to hire 4 advanced practitioners, which is another name for physician's assistants and nurse practitioners. And so we were going to hire 4 APPs is what they were called. And it was quite the undertaking. We actually did nothing clinical for a full 8 to 10 hours of interviews, like back to back. And the people that made it to that, we had our like assistants and things like that, like screened so many candidates. There was so many people that applied for this position to work in the bariatric practice. So we were doing one interview after the next, and you're meeting with people, and you're like, I think they're okay, but like they're not setting my soul on fire. Like they're fine people, but like I'm very specific about like, I don't even know how to describe what I wanted, but I know what it is and I know what it isn't. And so when you're like, maybe you're like, nope, that's not it. It's not it. In walks Amber. Okay. And at this time, this was years ago. So you were relatively early on in your career at this point.
My first interview.
Your first interview right out of PA school. This woman comes in there in a way, I mean, it was in person. You like explode into this room. I can still see the room. I can still see you entering the room. And it was just like this unbelievable amount of this combination of like confidence that like you knew who you were and you knew like what you brought, but also in this way that was just like it humbles, and knowing that you are still early in your career, but you sold yourself in just such a perfect way. And it was, I mean, I was like, whoa. And I was very adamant that I wanted what I considered like this unicorn candidate, somebody that had all this experience, that had already been in the operating room, that had seen patients in the clinic, that had bariatric specific experience. And you at that time didn't have any of that. But I was like, there's something about her. I'm like, screw my rules. You got to hire this one. And I ranked you number 1 out of every single person that we talked to. And I never really told you that out loud, but I was like, there's something special about this one. And she's never even done it yet, but she's going to be special. She absolutely is. And you've already proved it. You're still super, young and early in your career and killing it.
Thank you so much. I think that this is the greatest honor because I remember that day so clearly. And I tell everybody that when we talk about like we meet everybody for a reason, that interview to me felt like the dream first date. Like the first date you wish you had, where you know that you found the love of your life. Because I just went in there and you were so captivating. And I just felt so connected to you, connected to what you were doing, your personality, bariatrics as a whole, because I fell in love with it during school. And I just didn't even think that I was going to get the opportunity to work in that right out of school. But then there you were. And I just felt it. After that interview, I told myself, granted, I'm right out of school, like you're supposed to interview everywhere. I said, I'm not going to interview anywhere else because I don't want to give a less passionate version of myself. I
Oh,
think that is the job. And if it's not, if it's a no, then I'll apply elsewhere. But that is meant for me. And I just knew that I wanted to partner with you and that you are everything that people see online, it's that, but more and better because I think even online doesn't even capture it all as far as just your level of passion and drive and desire to just be your best self and to influence those around you to be their best selves as well.
my gosh. Thanks, Amber. That's super
Oh my
nice
gosh.
too. And I know that Hannah has also like just evolved into our relationship with you. And I mean, yeah, you're contagious too. I mean, your energy is absolutely there. No
Yeah,
doubt
you're
about
just
it.
this
Thank
like
you.
tiny little powerhouse.
Totally. I know. And we just wrote a blog and that's how we described you is like this is a powerhouse in this space. And you started it in your intro also just talking about like your own love of fitness and love of health and like nourishing your body and how like but you also respect kind of like you said your cultural upbringing and that food is love and food is family and celebrations and that is so important. I love the way you frame that and you kind of explain it to me being in this non-diverse upbringing and you're just like, wow, your perspective is so rich. But tell us more about that whole thing and how you incorporate kind of your personal life into now your professional life and how that makes you a better kind of provider.
So kind of a multi-part question there. And I think the part about being myself and that contributing, like that improving me as a provider, I learned partly from you, honestly. Seeing the way that you interacted with your patients early on in my career really taught me that, hey, by being your full personality, you connect with people more and it makes you better. I used to, like in school, be scared to even show my full personality or be in pink because I didn't want to
Mm.
be perceived differently as a Latina, but I was just putting that in my own head. And now I know it makes me better. And as far as my culture goes, I just know that some of the happiest moments in my family's life, like I said, my mom is very work hard, play hard. That's the way I was raised. We live for on the weekend, getting together with our neighbors who have become family and sitting around the table, just passing a plate and chatting. Like those moments for us feel like infinite time. And
Mm,
I just know that to tell someone of my culture who participates in those kind of cultural activities that you can't have that is not realistic and so
Hmm.
sad to tell
Yeah.
someone that they have
mhm.
to lose this entire part of who they are for their health. It, most people would rather just not be healthy and live a shorter life. So I really believe
Mm.
that you can have both. It's about how you do it. And I love this is one of the things about working with Hannah before that is like so in my memory that I love is getting to sit together and brainstorm. Hey, these are these cultural foods. How can we incorporate these? What's
Mhm.
okay? What's not? And just making a twist on those things or telling patients like, hey, you don't have to not go to these events, but here's how you can approach them differently. Here's how you can
Right.
just change the plate, grab a smaller plate, serve yourself differently. Because in my culture, a lot of the ways of eating are really accidentally habitual. In the Dominican Republic, for example, as I'm sure in many other places, like meat's just expensive. And so even
Mhm.
if you like go to a catered place, your plate is 2 pounds of rice, a sprinkle of meat, a sprinkle of vegetable, maybe. And then
Mhm.
because it's expensive there, people bring that habit here, even when expense is no longer as much of a concern. So it's just knowing of like, hey, you accidentally serve yourself this form of plate. You can just rearrange it, have more meats, less starches, or in the first 6 months, no starches. And we can we can work around it. We can find a way that you can still enjoy your culture and be healthy.
Yeah. That's something that from working with you before, like I've tried to really bring in, and so like sometimes your little face like pops up into my head. One that we talked about specifically was plantains, like plátanos. And I was like, no, we like, it's basically like a banana. I don't tell people not to eat bananas. So like, why would I tell them not to eat plantain? Like, great. Yes. Is it higher in carbs? For sure. But can we work it into the diet? Yeah, absolutely. Like, let's figure this out. So like you and I talked about like, okay, like the different ways to cook them, the sweet versus the green, like what can we really incorporate? And like, again, how do we do that where it's something that it's not off the table forever, and it's not off the table forever. Maybe we say, okay, for a couple weeks, couple months, whatever, like, that's one thing, but that is definitely something that I try to bring up. And because we do see a lot of people from Puerto Rico, from DR, from South and Central America, those two predominantly, I would say. But, and I get that comment all the time of like, well, I can't eat anything like that I'm used to. Like, there's nothing and I'm like, no, there's absolutely like, okay, let's look at, so again, my husband's Dominican. So like, I know what his mom cooks. I know how they eat at home. Like, and okay, I know some of these foods and I love to go to restaurants and things. So I eat these foods other ways too. But like, it's like, you can have the meats, you can have the veggies. Like you're saying, like, okay, we're going to cut back on the rice. And the good thing is, after surgery, especially, your stomach's gonna be smaller. So we're not worried about those huge, the portions anymore. So it's just reframing, and people are like, oh, like I actually can. And the foods that I have been raised with and know and are important to me are not bad for me, which is what our culture in America has been spouting out. Like, your cultural foods are bad. So here's how to make them better, make them whiter, I guess. And it's like, in what world does that make sense? Like, I don't know. So yeah, and so I love that we're going to get to continue that conversation and making that stuff accessible to patients and all of that, and like cooking together too.
That was so beautifully put, Hannah. I think that lifts a weight off of people's shoulders. Like, let's focus on what we can have.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I mean, the food stuff, you cooked for me the other day, and I know you're like, oh, that was nothing. That was so easy. Like, I'm like, I can't whip that up so effortlessly. And it was so yummy and
it
great.
Wasn't prepared in the microwave.
No, I am in a mean microwaver. We all know that. If you're a longtime fan of the show, that's pretty much where I come in. I can look at a food, I can look at it and decide exactly how many seconds it needs to be perfectly heated.
Do you ever adjust the intensity?
No,
like the level of your
I'm not that. I'm a joke.
Level 10.
It's always level 10. I never go down to like, my mom used to be like, that's a 70% with wax paper and no, I'm not that into it. Everything's 100% always. So you are cooking and you get into all of that stuff. And then you're also super into fitness. So I want to know, like, what is your favorite thing to do to get active? Or do you have more than one? Like, what brings you joy and helps you mentally as well?
It changes all of the time. And I think that is the key to being like an active person for life, is switching it up. I used to have a season of my life where weightlifting was all I did. Like, anything else absolutely bored me. Now it's really changed to running. Running's been the big one. And then I usually will do some strength training at home because I know that I still need it and I shouldn't just run. But my big thing is running. Run clubs has become my latest love.
Wow. Did you know that when I was at GBMC in Baltimore, Maryland for 8 years, we would do, it was the New Year's resolution. We would sign up for the Father's Day 5K that GBMC put on to benefit the NICU there. It was awesome. I still hope if you're up there and you're listening from Baltimore, still do it. And so we would start training for this on the first Saturday after New Year's. And every Saturday from New Year's until Father's Day, we would all get together, and it was like a running club, you could walk, you could run. All fitness levels were welcome and encouraged. And it was so great. It wasn't just like fitness and feeling good and feeling like accomplished on your Saturday morning, but it was also great to have that networking and the community of it all. And I'm sure, like, yeah, tell me like more about like, how do you even find a run club here? I don't know, maybe because you're from here.
So community, I think two things. So one is I really found it. I spent the last year in New York City and I was just like, let me go all in and let me be immersed in community. And so I had a friend that just told me that she goes to this run club. I started going and I went every single Monday thereafter. I never missed and we all went. And it was this great opportunity to both have fitness and see my friends regularly because as adults, if your friends aren't a part of something else, sometimes it's hard to see them regularly. And then here with my family, a big thing for us is my mom sometimes just signs us up for races. So she sometimes to have my dad and all of us be a little healthier, instead of telling us that, she just says, "Hey, I signed us up for a race."
Oh,
And
God.
then we all have to train for this race. And the time that it was kind of the most shocking was we at this point had been running like 5Ks, 10Ks, and the Disney races here are, if you're in the Orlando area, Disney races are a huge deal. When they open up, you have to be there ready to sign up because they sell out.
Oh,
They're a lot of fun. People make vacations out of them. They're an event. Like they
wow.
have a DJ out at 4 in the morning. It's a whole thing. And so there was, I think, the Wine and Dine or one of the races that the 10K sold out. So my mom just signed us up for a half marathon
Oh,
because that's what was available. And so
what?
at that point, we just all had to start training for it. And I remember thinking to
What?
myself, like, I don't know that I ever want to run again. My training involves running 11 miles after a 10-hour workday at the hospital in New York in the
Oh,
cold. I was kind of almost over it, but then the half marathon was so much fun. Disney just does a great job, like highly recommend. And then like I said, my friends started inviting me and I kind of became in love with the social aspect and the idea that you're meeting all of these people and your hangout is running with a bunch of people who also care about their health and are in a good mood, chasing endorphins. Like even at the end of a tired day, it feels great. So then I don't know, I just love the culture now.
oh
And I'm
my
That's
still
so
gosh.
hanging out there.
funny because you and I were talking the other day about this because I was like, wait, when did you start running? Because I remember before you would post your videos at you had the apartment gym and you were like
Yeah.
doing that. And I feel like you were doing more like HIIT and, like you said, a lot of the heavy weightlifting. And I was like, remember her running, like, so funny. And so you were telling me about all of this, and I was like, yeah, I did a run club once when I was in New Orleans. It was just through the French Quarter in New Orleans. So it was just this course that went on the streets. And so it was a 5K, went with a couple friends. I got like, I don't know, a quarter of the way into it. And I was like, nope. And I just cut across one of the streets, went back up. I met my friends back. It was hosted by a brewery. I was like, I'll be at the finish, you guys. That was my one run club experience. I've done like couch to 5K a couple times, but I don't know. Running is never I'll have these weird random times where I'm like, I'm really into running. I got it. And then it just doesn't last.
Oh,
I think we just have to embrace whichever season we're in of whatever kind
yes.
of activity that we like. But if anyone's looking for a run club, just if you Google or on Instagram, like Orlando Run Club or wherever you are run clubs, there's so many now, and a lot of them have walking routes too
Yes.
that are an
Mhm.
option for people.
I'm here for the walking. Like I don't run
Yeah.
anymore. Like that's done. The
Betsy
GBMC thing.
stomps.
I do. I'm always stomping around the
She
neighborhood.
calls
Like
me. She calls me. She's like, I'm stomping right now.
I know, I do. And I love like I actually love the Florida humidity and I'm just like sweating profusely and it's burning my eyes. And I'm just like, I'm writing like emails and I'm walking. I'm sure like my neighbors are like, what is wrong with this individual? But hey, afterwards, the endorphins, as we know, like they make you feel good. And
Mhm.
it's a lot more than even just like the physical aspect. Of course, it's the mental and just, oh,
Mhm.
how you feel and all that kind of stuff. So Amber, I know that we have kind of talked about this offline, and we're going to, of course, be very deliberate with how we do this, but we really want you to be able to like express all of these things like on your own podcast. Like we really are interested in you doing one in Spanish and that sort of thing. And I know I'm putting you on the spot with that, but like why is that exciting? And like, how does that look for you?
I think it's exciting because it's nerve-wracking, and when things are nerve-wracking, sometimes we just got to do them nervous. As they say, like do it scared. I am excited to get to just connect to the Spanish speaking population because I think that so many people, um, in that population could really benefit from getting more bariatric knowledge.
Yeah.
Like, what is bariatric surgery? Like, who's a candidate for it? All of the myths about it and how they're not true, and just connecting with them. I think it's super, super exciting. I need to learn from you guys and find out how I'm going to just like consistently have new topics and keep them going in between the schedule of things. As I'm still getting
It may not be the best role models right now.
We are no, but
We've done it before. We can do it again.
We can do this. Yeah, we've done over 50 podcasts, and then like her husband asks us all the time, do you guys still have a podcast? And then of course I get very defensive. Well, we have a lot going on, but
there's a lot going on.
But we do have this whole podcast thing, and we do really want as far as I know, there's really not many Spanish speaking podcasts that focus on our very specific specialty. And so to me, that's so exciting to talk about those things. And I never want to do anybody a disservice when it comes to treating them. And obviously the surgery is the surgery and that sort of thing. But we know this, the surgery is a very minor aspect of this entire journey, and the preparation and education expectation setting before surgery. And then of course, after surgery, the lifelong follow-up and the resources, and we have Project Reset, and just being very mindful that, all right, you might not connect on the same level if you're not speaking your first language, perhaps. So how you're sensitive to all of that.
I'm really excited to get to just equip patients with the knowledge to help them feel more comfortable, to not be so nervous, being in a room full of people that may not look like them or speak like them. I think that part will be really awesome. So keep a lookout for my Spanish speaking podcast.
Oh my gosh. Stay tuned. We're going to go for it. And Hannah's going to help us. Hannah loves it. It's like
awesome.
It is going to be awesome. I am so excited for that and how that continues to take form. I could tell you the details, but we don't have them yet, but we're going to. And I know that everything's blurry and then it sharpens. And I'm like, oh, I love how this turned out. I didn't know how it was going to turn out, but I really, it's like your baby and you're proud of it and all of that kind of stuff. I want to shift gears and do something fun. I want to ask you some fun questions now that are kind of more rapid fire, and I'm just curious to hear your answers. All right, so here we go. So first off, what is your favorite food? Death row type of a meal. What would it be?
Death row.
Last supper, baby. What would it be?
Amber's too good. She's never thought about being on death row.
She's like, oh, wait, what? She's like, what's this question? Death row.
Definitely not. I love several different things. However, it would have to be salmon avocado sushi with a glass of red wine at home. Like, that is like a relaxing moment for me, is that takeout.
Okay. Awesome. Do you
Although I don't approve of red wine and sushi.
It's my death row. It's my death row.
That's what, don't judge, Hannah. This is it. That's her favorite thing. You can have any mismatch of things. God, I'd eat so much butter. I just eat sticks of butter probably, Hannah. That's probably what I would do.
Noodles with butter.
Wait, Hannah, I need to know yours now.
Noodles with butter and a little salt.
That's it.
Okay.
It is not, it's not fancy, not expensive. It's comfort.
Oh, wow. No, mine would not be sticks of butter, literally. Mine would be like a filet rare plus done perfectly. Probably Eddie V's. I freaking love Eddie V's. If you want to find me
not
on a
STK?
weekend night, Eddie V's is better than STK.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm
sorry, STK, if you're listening. I would never cheat on you, but I do love Eddie better. I do. I love Eddie V's. Oh my God. We need to go there. That's a whole different thing. Okay, now, coffee, tea, or no caffeine?
Coffee any day, multiple times a day.
Okay. What's the last show that you binge watched?
Daisy Jones and the Six.
What is that? I haven't heard that.
My favorite book, and there's no reason for this to be my favorite book because it's just about like a fictional rock band, but something about the way it's written intrigues me. It's one of the few books that I've read more than once, and they made a show out of it. Not only did they make a show, but I just think that the creators really put their all in when they didn't have to, because it's about this fictional rock band. They made a real album to listen to.
Wow.
Aside from the show. So that one.
Pretty cool.
Wow. Great answer. No hesitation on any of those. If you could travel anywhere on planet Earth right now, where would it be?
Somewhere I've been before, Cannes in the south of France.
Oh, interesting. Do you prefer cats, dogs, or are you not an animal lover?
Dogs, but I don't need one,
Got it.
which I know is a red flag.
Well, I totally
you
get
two are
that.
like,
We are like
Yep.
peas in the pods, as Hannah has cats that are like walking on her keyboard across the screen right now. Actually, where are those two little guys? They're about to
they
make
are
their debut.
snoozing somewhere.
Oh my gosh, that whole place is snooze. And I love this time of day at Hannah's house. It's just like that
Uh-huh.
nap, the fans going, that gentle
Mhm.
hum, the breeze. Okay, are you a morning person or a night owl?
Morning person.
What time do you wake up every day in a perfect world?
In a perfect world, 5 to 6.
Nice. Okay. What is your favorite pizza topping?
Black olives and mushrooms.
I can feel that. What is your favorite holiday and why?
Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday because it's the biggest one for my family. Everyone travels for it. We all get together. There's no stress of presents. We just get to spend time with each other.
Oh, yes, the present burden. That is a lot. That is a lot of expectations there. Would you rather be invisible or have the ability to fly?
Fly.
Oh, yeah, me too. What's your favorite movie of all time?
Clueless.
I love
Oh,
Clueless.
great
A
movie.
classic.
I
It's
quote
a
that
classic.
way too much.
We do. I love that. Do you prefer beaches or mountains?
Beaches. Tropical girl.
I knew it. I'm like, mountains, no way. That cold almost broke you, my love, in New York City. That was a lot. That was a lot watching you with those the big, huge parkas you're wearing. I'm like, no, that is not her. No, she doesn't want that. No,
Exactly.
sweet or salty?
Salty.
What's your hidden talent?
Hidden talent. I can do one tumbling/gymnastics type move, and it is a back walkover.
Wow.
Wow.
We need to get that on. That needs to
That's
be
it.
like the visual for this podcast episode is you
Yes.
now
Mid-back
an
walkover.
adult doing a back walkover. Holy crap.
Can you like touch your tongue with your nose? Nose with your tongue?
No way. Can you?
No. You have a really
Adrian
short
can.
tongue, apparently.
Yeah. Oh. And what is your karaoke song?
I don't think I have one. But if I did, probably something by like Usher or Neo. And really
Oh.
just really passionately feel them.
Oh, okay. Ursher, baby. Okay, that's good. And what is something that you have on your bucket list?
On my bucket list, I have to say, bucket list has been getting checked off. Maybe skydiving or the Amalfi Coast. Never bungee jumping. I have no interest in bungee jumping.
No.
Yeah, I always thought I would want to go bungee jumping, but now I don't want to.
Like hanging upside down and bouncing.
Yeah, now I just like
No.
my back. I just feel
No.
like it would just.
I think it would snap in two.
My
No.
back hurts. Like I don't need to be bouncing on a giant
No, absolutely not.
rubber band.
All right, now the hard-hitting question, the last one. What's your favorite emoji? What's your most commonly used emoji?
Pink heart with the sparkles or with the little blue arrow.
I know.
What's yours? I need to know.
Oh
What's
God,
yours?
do I tell them the truth, Hannah?
Oh gosh. It's not that it should be the double pink heart, but I have a feeling it's
Yeah,
something else.
it is. So there's the heart I put in every single one is the pink heart, but it has like a lot of like ripples within the pink heart. That's my number on. I put the pink heart on every single thing I do. Hashtag body by Dovec. And I've never smoked a cigarette in my life. I have to put that disclaimer out there. But whenever I'm like, I use the cigarette emoji a lot.
When we're a little stressed, we'll send the cigarette emoji to each other.
When things are like, are you kidding me? Is this really happening? The
Yeah.
thing that calms me down is this cigarette emoji because it makes me like LOL, even though I use it like every hour. But I think it's so fun. I think I'm so clever when I'm putting it out there. Or if I don't put it, Hannah will put it. And that's just pretty much how it goes in our group chats.
Yeah. It was our group chat like logo for a hot minute there.
It's a cigarette. I mean, what's wrong with us, Amber? Look at this team you're joining.
We have a problem.
I love that you guys are fully yourselves. I think there's nothing like being in this small team that's really just a group of friends looking to do the best for the patients, for each other. I can't tell you guys what, like how amazing it is to be on a team where you just trust every single person so much and where every person is awesome and you really believe in one another. I can ask any question ever. It's just the best. There's nothing like it.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, we are definitely, I'm going to make an Instagram reel and hopefully it will be out there by the time you guys hear this. And it's going to be about like, what am I looking for in people that I work with? Now, this goes twofold. I came up with this last night when I was taking my nightly stomp. I was going around the neighborhood and it hit me and I'm like, man, I am not just looking for people I work with, but also my patients. And what is the ideal person that I want to, because we're kind of working together on this like lifelong journey to lose weight. And then we're working together, hopefully on this lifelong career together that you feel like this business, this thing, this mission and everything that we're doing is like so worth it. But anyway, I realized that in a simple way, I'm looking for people who want to level up, people who have goals, who have dreams and one bigger than they are right now. I'm not trying to transform anybody in terms of like changing who the fundamentals of your life or your value system, your core and all that stuff, but just people who are constantly trying to get better and just trying their best. And that's what I look for, like, again, among colleagues and in patients. And a lot of times those people, when you really have that relationship, will ultimately become friends and then like really good friends. Like to your earlier point that if it wasn't for this running club or this kind of intentional meetup, it's hard to like just your day-to-day life and work and all that kind of stuff gets in the way of all of your other stuff. So your work family is truly your family. And I mean, you guys, everybody knows how I feel about Hannah and just doing this podcast and how people will comment on our podcast. Like it sounds like just two old buddies just sitting there, like just hashing it out, and
you are.
It is. Yeah.
It totally is. I love the culture that we're trying to do. And at any point, if it's, I'll tell you, my husband, the thing about us that works is that he does a lot of the household stuff, managing all of this, helping with the kids and everything. And he does help out with these businesses. And then there's a lot of businesses now that we're building the surgery center, which, you're super jazzed with and all that stuff. But anyway, we have very distinct roles and he does, different things there. And he early on, he went behind my back and he went to like the team, the group chat, and he was like, Betsy's phone's always going off. So you guys need to, I don't know if he told you this, Hannah, or not, but he told he told Joni for sure that like, hey, you shouldn't be this is work. And like,
you had to have like a separate group chat.
Like, yeah, they had to have a separate one. Like if you guys want to BS and talk about all this stuff, like she's constantly getting like ping, 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 like, like calm that down. But then it was like quiet. I realized I'm like, this is boring if we don't like kind of commiserate. So I told them like, don't listen to him. So I know he's not a fan of the Dr. X dietitians. So I don't have to worry about him finding out about that comment, but no, you have to make it fun because life is short. Yeah. This is hard. It is hard. We work hard. It is hard. It's a lot of hours. Sometimes people are not the nicest. You're like, I'm just trying my best here. But man, like when it's good, it's great. And that's what motivates us and fuels our passion to keep waking up every day and doing it again. I mean, that's it right there in a nutshell.
I know.
Absolutely. And it's a dream to be surrounded by dreamers. I think that's a huge takeaway for me of New York City was the importance of being surrounded by other dreamers because you don't have to live a mundane life. Like you have a choice and you can create your environment and, change it, move it. If you have the opportunity. I know not everybody can, but if you can, do it.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to snippet out that right there. That is going to be its own, like, that's it.
That's it.
It is a dream to be around dreamers. My gosh. Level up, Hannah. My gosh.
Wait, well, I have a question, Amber. She asked what's your bucket list item? Like what's your next? You said you've been checking off a lot. I want to know what's like your last bucket list thing you've checked off.
Living my year away. For sure. That's like, because that encompasses all of the New York City tourist things, being immersed in community, being super social, that whole thing, that whole year.
Oh, I am also so jealous of, I've always wanted that experience in New York. Every time I go there, there is something just, again, like contagious about this amazing, like like anything you want to do. I read the books, The Happiness Project, and she lives in New York City, and she describes it like you want to learn some, like, I want to do ballet while eating sushi, and there just happens to be this like very strange little business that does just that. Like whatever you want to do, like you can do it.
You can do
It's
it.
there.
I've never wanted to live in New York.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
but
yes.
I loved living in Chicago.
That's
Because
probably
to me,
pretty
Chicago
close.
was like New York, but it's actually kind of clean. So my sisters lived in New York for like, I don't know, 12 years, 14 years, something like that. So go up and visit, and that's great.
That's enough. Yeah.
My gosh, that is so cool. Well, I could just keep on talking for hours here about, I have even more questions, but I'm like, no. Let's wrap it up. Hannah, do you have anything else for Amber?
No, I think we're just so excited to have you and to like bring you on as, first off, just support, because like we are growing, we are rapidly like we are trying to help as many people as possible, and with that comes we need more and more people to help us, right? So that part I'm really excited, but like we were talking, really more than that is like this collaboration and getting the message out there to people that we can help them to lead these lifestyles that are going to promote their health, that it's going to help, them live longer and live happier lives, and to do that in a way that makes sense to them, that fits in culturally, that fits in with their lifestyle. Like, I don't want people to feel like they have to change themselves 100%. Yes, will things about you change when you go through this process? Absolutely. If nothing changed, then nothing would change, right? And so it's that, but doing it in a way that really is just supportive of people. And I know that you are like everybody's biggest cheerleader too. Like you are just going to bring up so many people in their spirits and in their education and all of these different ways. So I'm just really excited to have you.
Oh my gosh.
I'm so excited and so honored to just get to be with patients on this walk. Like I haven't done that for the last year, I was in an inpatient setting, only in the hospital. So to get to be back to being with patients on their journey is the greatest honor. I'm excited to be a cheerleader again. I'm excited to walk through patients' journeys with them. Like I can't express that enough.
Oh, I know. And we are here sooner than we know it, opening up the new location. I know you haven't gone and seen it. Actually, Hannah hasn't even been there in person yet. I know.
God, there's just logistics of driving, logistics of going anywhere. There's not like they used to, man.
I know. Oh my gosh. Well, I can't wait for you both to see it, but I know you've seen like the videos and the pics and things online. I think we need to, I was thinking about going tomorrow, like when you're over here, but we need to see it. You need to when you're in that, and then you're going to be in the one place where there's the office, there's the surgery center side. You see patients, you can hop over and say hello to them, even on the morning of their surgery. You can assist in the surgeries while you kind of like, I am so excited to see how like that kind of even like further just makes us like better in that we can even take even better care because everything's under one roof. And what excites you the most about that new actual physical location?
Oh my gosh, I think the other day when you mentioned that I can be in my office and just like knock on the wall and you'll be right there.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, I just love the collaboration of my role. And so to get to collaborate in person and hang out with you guys, because everyone on the team is awesome. So just to be around everybody and get to bounce ideas off of one another and see patients when they're coming to surgery. I can't even imagine. Like that's a dream of a work environment. So all of that.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's coming and we can't wait for our patients to see it. We're going to have a huge grand opening. I think that's going to be ridiculous. But
just the thought of that starts to make
I know. I'm like, Hannah, we have to plan a party for 1,000 people.
Ew.
It's going to be awesome. I need all the things, all the creative forces and energies. But Amber's here. She's coming in fresh. She's coming in hot. She's ready to see you. And my friend, she is accepting new patients and she would love to really see you before surgery, take care of you, see you after surgery, be there to hold your hand, support you in every aspect of that entire journey. Hannah, can you take us out and tell us a little bit more about how they can connect with Amber in our practice and all of the good things there?
Yes, absolutely. So you can find Amber on Instagram at Amber_the PA.
Yep.
Got it. Yes. Amber_the PA. You can find us at Dr. X Dietitian, at Dr. Dovec, at hannahschuyler.rd. We are on YouTube. We're obviously listening to us on whatever platform that you love. We're there. You can always reach out to us at the office, bariatrics.com. If you're interested in getting started, that's the place to go. BodyByBariatrics.com. Send us a text. We'd love to get you going and keep you going. If you're having some troubles or anything like that, always reach out. You can send us a message. We're happy to get back to you any way we can.
Absolutely. Well, Amber, again, welcome. Thank you again for being on our podcast. We can't wait for the big announcement of your own podcast.
Thank you guys so much. A greatest honor.
This is awesome. All right. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye, guys.